All right, gents, I am feeling a little ballistic today. I am. It's true. So I am very excited for this Reuben Rant part of the podcast. I'm rolling up my sleeves. That's right. I am excited because today we are talking about something I am very, very passionate about, and that is the male victimhood mentality, something that I have raged against for a while. And if you listen to the intro to this podcast, you would probably know why. Because I'm a big believer in personal responsibility and the idea that you can change your future. Now, seemingly, some people get off on the idea of, I can't. And they find every weaselly excuse to say, I can't. It's very hard to be around these people because they're a bunch of lowbrow hope stealers, and they are taking away this vision of life that is hopeful. They're saying you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this because of X, Y, or Z. You can't do these great things because you're being held back by X, Y, or Z. And it's no way to live your life, especially for a guy trying to make his way in the world. Like you're never, with that mindset, you're never going to get anywhere. Here's a couple things I have heard just recently, like you look around in news articles, you look around, and this stuff gets clicks. It gets clicks because it's exotic, and it's very easy to sell a desperate message where it's like, oh, things are terrible. Everyone's like, yeah, things are terrible. Thank you for telling me. That's a weak way to live your life. Don't do that. Live a strong life, okay? And choose to say, I can. I'll get more into that later. But here's a couple things I've heard. You can't get ahead because boss man's always keeping you down. You can't buy a house because the economy is terrible. You can't make a living as a man today. The wages just aren't good enough. I can't lose weight because my schedule is too busy. You can't get married because marriages always fail. I obviously disagree with that. You can't start a business because the market is too saturated. I mean, another one. There aren't any date-worthy women left out there. These are all things that these stupid hope stealers just steal from everyone. And it's so aggravating because they're not doing anything with their lives. They're not going to get ahead. That's the truth, okay? These messages are just plain old bullshit. And it's very aggravating to be around people who want to spread this idea that, I can't get ahead, so no one else can get ahead either. Okay, that's envy, man. That's saying they almost get this like sick sadistic pleasure from this idea that they can't get ahead simply because, they have convinced themselves that they can't. That's what it is, okay? You can get ahead. You can do better. You can make a better life for yourself. That's the American message anyways. That's how I feel. So yeah. Those messages are bullshit. Here's the good news, and here's the bad news. The bad news is those people will never get ahead. They won't until they change their mindset, until they decide to take on a resilient mindset of saying, I can. They will never get ahead. That's the bad news. And it's sad. It's their own damn fault, but it's sad. The good news is you can choose to not be one of those people. And I implore you to not be one of those people. There's a great book by Robert Kiyosaki. It's called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's like a New York Times bestseller. Very famous book. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. And it's a book all about how to become wealthy financially. It's a financial book. But very famous for a couple of different reasons. But the number one takeaway that I got from that book, because I disagree with some of the stuff he said, but one of the major takeaways I got from that book was this idea he talked about where he said, rich people do not say, I can't. They say, how can I? That's very simple and yet somehow incredibly profound. And when you start to apply that, and like after I read that book, I started to try and apply that to so many different situations in my life that weren't even financial. But just really every part of my life where I was like, okay, I'm not going to say I can't. I'm not going to let my first reaction be cynical. I'm going to say, okay, how can I? My first reaction might be, oh, I can't do that. And it's like, no, you probably could. How could you? How can I? That mindset shift is it will make an astronomical difference in your life. It truly will. And so I'm sick and tired of all these people who want to say that they can't get ahead because of outside influences, when in reality, they're holding themselves back. They've got so much potential. If you're a dude out there and you keep on saying, I can't do this, I can't do that, don't hold yourself back like that. You can do it. You can. So I do want to tell you like a little story from a week ago. Sometimes this gets me a little emotional, so I'm gonna try and keep it under control because this occurrence did really move me. But I have a nephew. Okay, he's the cutest little dude ever. Okay, and I was hanging out at my parents' house, and my nephew Gus, he's a bomb. He's got like all these trains, right? Like he's a little man. He likes to play with trains, like I did too. Matchbox cars, all those things. So he's playing with trains. And he's grabbing this Thomas the Tank Engine train, and he's like running up the side of this like chest we have in the middle of the living room, and he's going, I think I can, and it really moved me. It really did, because there's so many kids' stories growing up that had such, they're very simplistic but amazing messages that I never thought about. I just grew up with them, and I was given them by my parents, and they knew what they were doing, I suppose, when they gave me those books. But I just read them. I was like, oh, that's a great story. And Gus was talking about the short story, like the little engine that could. And it's a fucking amazing story, okay? And I know this is like very simplistic, and you're going to be like, oh, Reuben, that's so stupid. I don't give a shit, actually. I'll go into it. The whole story of the little engine that could, right? He's the tiny engine. He's not supposed to be able to make it up this massive ass mountain. All these big engines are laughing at him. They're saying, you can't do it. There's no way. You're a tiny engine. You're never going to make it up the mountain. You're never going to make it. And, you're a runt. You can't do it. And he starts. The little engine starts. And he takes it a chug at a time. And as he's going up the mountain, in his head, he doesn't necessarily hear the doubt of the other people. He doesn't say, I can't do this. I'm going to roll back down the mountain. He goes, I think I can. And slowly but surely, he makes his way up the mountain. And he struggles, and it's difficult, and there's roadblocks in the mountain, and there are things that, cause hiccups for him going up the mountain. But he makes it. He makes it because he has this incredibly resilient mindset where he says, I think I can. To hell with what everybody else is saying and what the world around me is saying. Fuck you. I can do this. And it's not an arrogant thing. It's a resilience thing, okay? It's saying I could take on the mindset very easily, the comfortable mindset where I just roll back down the mountain and I don't make it up. And I don't struggle and strive for the peak. I could do that. It's very easy. That's an easy out. But he doesn't. He says, I think I can. He makes his way up the mountain. And it moved me seeing my nephew, with his little Thomas the Tank Engine train, trying to go up the side of this chest. I think I can. And that story, it hit me. It hit me in the feels. It really did. And I was like, damn, what a fucking awesome message to give to our young men. Like, that is the message that American men need to be hearing. Men all around the world, okay? It's not this, you're being held back by a million different outside influences. No, it's think that you can and you will. Stop saying I can't. There's times in your life where I've said I won't. There's been a lot of times like that. There's things in my life that I'd like to go skydiving. I won't. It's not that I can't. Like, I physically could go do it. I could make the time to go and get in a helicopter or airplane or whatever and jump out and do the parachute thing and go skydiving. That would be cool. I won't. But I'm not going to say I can't. I can't because of my schedule. If I really wanted to, I could make it happen. And when you have this idea of, okay, if I really want to do something and I want to prioritize it, I can make it happen. Whether that's fitness or reading your books or whatever it is, you can make it happen. Don't say I can't. Say I won't. That's okay. You can live with that. That's fine. I live with that a lot of the times in my life. It's like, I would love to be crazy jacked. I'm not going to dedicate enough time in the gym to do that. You know, I would love to read, 3 books a week. I could do that, but I wouldn't be able to do the podcast, and I wouldn't be able to stay in shape, and, I wouldn't be able to work extra and make extra money to hopefully have money for a down payment on a house someday. I wouldn't be able to do those things, and those things matter to me more than reading 3 books a week. So it's not that I can't. I could do it. It would just cause a sacrifice of so many things that it's not worth it to me. So, just sometimes recognize, I won't do it, and that's okay. And I'm making that conscious decision. But don't say I can't. Don't do that. Don't take on this male victimhood mentality. It gets me so fired up because it is, when you meet people who don't have that mindset, they are inspiring. They lift you up, okay? They take you to new heights. And you look at them and you just say, you're doing something so difficult. Like the level of excellence that you hold yourself to is so impressive. And it's happening because you aren't giving in to these stupid messages all around you that are telling you can't. You're saying, how can I? You're making a plan, and then you're executing. It's freaking beautiful. It really is. It really is. Anyways, I will stop ranting about this whole thing, but the male victimhood mentality, if you're in it, and I've been there before, man, I've sulked. I have sulked. I have been down in the dumps and just felt like I was given the worst hand ever at times, It wasn't true. It was bullshit. It was a terrible message I was giving myself, but that's how I felt, and I've got out of it, and I'm never going back. I'm never going back because to be in a place where you can say, I can do almost anything I set my mind to is so freeing. You'll never go back to that sulking self where you say, I'm just held back because, damn, my hand is terrible and I'm never going to get a new set of cards. It's not true. It's not true. So if you are like that, please, for your own sake, for the sake of those you love and the people around you, get out of that headspace and get a better framework for your life. Thank you.